Shadow Stranger. I only very recently recalled this memory, as I forgot that it even happened to me. Prior to this incident, I had never experienced anything like it, nor did I ever suffer from hallucinations, not even after the fact. This is the only time I experienced something visual. I've had a couple of audible experiences since then, but never visual and undeniably real like this. It could have been explainable, but I haven't been able to figure it out. Maybe you will. I live in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai, and I'm a 28-year-old female. Approximately 20 years ago, I was on the island of Oahu visiting family on my father's side. I stayed at my auntie's house with her rather large, height and width-wise, Samoan boyfriend. She was about 5 foot and was on the chunky side. She had a daughter, my cousin, who was the same age as me and standing at an average 8-year-old girl's height. You'll see why this information matters. They lived in this neighborhood called Wilhelmina Rise on the bottom floor of a 2-story house. It was set up almost like a fairly spacious studio where the only room was the bathroom. Otherwise, you could see everything in the studio in its entirety, no matter where you were standing. There were 2 queen-size beds several feet from each other, one closest to the TV and the other closest to the back wall. I was sleeping in my bed farthest from the TV on the inside, having the wall closest to me, and my cousin was sleeping next to me. My aunt and her boyfriend were of course sleeping in the other bed. I want to say it was somewhere between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. when I suddenly woke up. I don't know if I had to use the bathroom or what disrupted me, but I was facing the kitchen when I opened my eyes. Again, yes, everything was in one big room, so I could see the kitchen, microwave, front door, etc. Everything was viewable from my position. So I opened my eyes and propped myself up a bit, using my elbow to see over my peacefully slumbering cousin. I was puzzled at first, as it caught my eye and I just thought, I'm imagining things. I began to rub my eyes a bit, hoping to get rid of whatever was causing this potential illusion. I looked up again, knowing it'd be gone. The only explanation were my eyes were just likely blurry, causing me to see imaginary things, right? That's what everyone else would expect when something like this was happening. But that isn't what happened. Not in this universe. After rubbing the sleep from my eyes, I looked up again and it was in the same spot it had been. The next step would be to pinch myself, right? That's exactly what I did. I pinched my arm as hard as I could, to where I had to rub the pain away. But it was still there. My 8-year-old mind was trying to make sense of what was playing out, but it couldn't. And I think maybe that's why I didn't say anything to anyone until very recently. Standing in the kitchen and facing the sink away from me is what looked like to be a figure of a male on the slimmer side, except I couldn't see any details of it. It was as if it were encompassed by a dark, deep, shadowy black. It was a silhouette. Not even the stove's dim overhead light penetrated anything identifiable on it. Other than this entire encounter, the odd thing is when I first saw it, my half-asleep brain recognized it as my grandma. I looked harder to make sure that made sense, but it didn't. It didn't make sense for a lot of reasons. The main two being she's my mom's mom, therefore having no relation to anyone here except me. And 2, she was still alive and well on my home island at the time. She didn't pass away until about a decade later, so it wasn't some sort of omen, at least I don't think. After I looked at my aunt and her enormous boyfriend sleeping as they're supposed to be, I glanced at the front door, thinking maybe someone broke in. From where I was, I could see the chain was still on the door, as was the heavy-duty padlock. This meant that the only way that the locked door would open was from the inside. The only window in her place was still intact as well, so I was quickly checking explanations off the list. I wasn't liking the conclusion I was coming to. My heart was pounding at this point, and the figure still hadn't made a single movement. I rubbed my eyes and pinched myself one last time, hoping I was dreaming. Please, I thought to myself, as I slowly started to lower my body onto the mattress, keeping my eyes on whatever it was that refused to go away. Please keep us safe and don't let anyone see anything, I said to myself. I stealthily flipped on my other side to face the wall and pull the covers over my head. I didn't care how hot it was. I was not going to see what's on the other side of this thing, nor was I going to feel, hear, anything that it did. I silently prayed more to my parents' God and had so much fear and adrenaline coursing through me. I thought I would never end up falling asleep. I genuinely had it in my mind that something was about to happen to me. Miracles do happen, as after a millennia passed, I did indeed fall asleep through the rest of the night without any other disturbances. I don't recall what happened the following day, but all I know is nothing was out of place, no evidence of someone MacGyvering their way into the house, and no one else mentioned anything about what I saw. I did tell my dad's mom about this recently, and she genuinely believes that I'm sensitive to anything spiritual or paranormal. She has her reasons for believing, but that's another story. For some reason, I haven't been able to find it within me to agree with her about it. Maybe it's because I fear these types of encounters, so my subconscious probably shuts this stuff out. Maybe it's because I'm just too skeptical, but what I do know about that night is regardless of me being skeptical or not, what I saw was really there. Most people would chalk it off to exactly what I said, my blurred vision and perhaps being sleepy or groggy, but shadow figures are a common occurrence in places like mine. And it's not to say that I don't trust her word on being spiritual or sensitive to this. I have experienced a lot of undeniably weird things in my life, occurrences that just can't be explained from the normal human mind. But this one took the cake. I looked into my place being haunted and perhaps there being any background history, but nothing came up that could explain what I experienced. Even since then, my skeptical side has gone onwards, and even though I was incredibly scared of what I saw that night, I try to chalk it up to something real, something that exists in this world that I know of. Even if everyone tells me otherwise, I know there has to be some explanation behind it. At least, I hope so. Hawaii is known to have spirits, and it's known to have things that are very unexplainable in this world. Most of the people who I've told this story to have always told me that I've really experienced something in the paranormal. That me believing that it wasn't anything like that, or anything that had to do with the supernatural, is just me denying the truth. And perhaps they're right. Maybe I am just a big skeptic who looks away from the paranormal to make myself comfortable. Maybe I am just too skeptical. All I do know is I'd never like to experience seeing a spooky spectral stranger in the middle of the night ever again.